Black Admiral for you guys, out of Polish national team of Armada, of Legion Kraków as well. Today I would like to talk a bit about the tournament that happened recently in Poland, like 1 week ago. So not this weekend, but the previous one, which was basically the fifth Polish national championship. It's been this year. It's called Polish Masters, as of course, due to that ongoing COVID situation, which is happening worldwide. The FFG is just not supporting the organized play, which is totally understandable. And well, there are no kits, especially for a big tournaments like nationals. So nowadays Grand Championship. So we decided, according to the fact that situation in Poland is not that bad. I mean, it wasn't, and regular play is back since I believe like July, June, July, something like this. The gaming is back in the stores, in LGSs. So we decided to run a community tournament, basically, which is, as I said, fifth Polish national championship. Of course, we provided some custom prizes support. We also provided some promos from the older kits, like from 2016. We have gathered a lot of tokens, the official ones from FFG, and cards that were in the kits. As I said, I believe 2016, 17. So old promos for especially bearing in mind that many new players joined the scene recently. So for them, it's always a good reason to participate. Yes, and that's how it's been organized. I was the TO there, and also, as you might have noticed already, I've been the commentator of a stream, which is of course available on our channel, on our YouTube channel, Legion Kraków. You can see the top table, the matches from the top table that were played across the whole weekend. And I hope you've seen it. If not, then I hope you will see it after this video, and I hope you'll enjoy it. Tournament wasn't that big. I mean, we were hoping for much bigger attendance. There was a limitation of 30 people, 30 spots. However, the players did not fill those places in, most likely due to the situation, which is of course which is reasonable, that people are still not all the players are playing. They want to, some part of us just wants to still stay at home, which is also understandable. However, as I said, the gaming is back in stores since July. We've been organizing tournaments for, like, I would say 15-14 players before due to that hard period in those dark times that we have right now all around the globe. So tournaments were back. We decided to provide to organize such championship event, and yes, and we were hoping that more players will participate. Many known faces were not attending this tournament for some reason. I mean, the players that were going to the tournament, so possibly the date was not that good. Anyway, we had only 21 people registered. 2 of them did not join us, so there were only 19 people during that weekend that participated in the event, but we're glad that they came. If you're guys watching, thank you for this, for being a living part of this community. Well, and I hope that situation will be getting better, and not only in Poland but all across the world. the players will be joining such tournaments more eagerly. But getting back to the topic, to the point, I will today speak a bit about the lists, the meta on this tournament, mostly focusing on the top 8, as this is the most interesting part, and I will break down the lists a bit. I will provide you with some statistics, and I will discuss here what was happening in particular matchups. So first of all, I would like to start with the stats. Just give me a moment. Okay, here we go. Yep. So here we go with the statistics. As I've been saying, 19 players, 8 Rebel players, 11 Imperials. So pretty equal. The difference is, of course, as you can see on the middle column, the Rebels were represented only by two different admirals. So speaking about it, Agate is the recent addition, and it's very strong commander due to the low cost and just those two effects. So adding a token and the other one allowing you to spend the token whenever you want to. It's defense token, of course. So it's a big admiral, one of the best, which is of course confirmed due to that statistic. As you can see, over 25% of all admirals on this tournament was Agate. So what's interesting, it's only the Agate Starhawk. So I'm just assuming that people were trying to bring to the table something that they didn't play before, something that is one of the most recent additions, I believe the recent one, which is Starhawk. So there were 5 Agate Starhawks, so no Agate Admonition, so MSU, and no other ships like MC-80 or MC-75. Nothing like this, only the Starhawk. So that's why the Agate was strongly represented. The other one is Riken, which is pretty obvious choice, the best Rebel Admiral for sure. I don't think that it's necessary to speak about it a bit more. It's just an obvious choice. A bit surprised that there was no Akbar, no Radus, despite the Radus was nerfed at the beginning of the year. As you can see, players just chosen something new or something best for such tournament, which is appreciated and says a lot about the situation among the rebel commanders. It's very clear. So rebellion is still built on hope, but it's still built around or on Riken and Agate, which is the other option right now. Getting back to Imperials, 11, but as you can see on the screen, just the Imperials just spread out a bit, I would say, because they split up between many commanders, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 different commanders. So only Sloan was doubled, Gergert and Motti. However, there was a single Piet, single Tron, Screed, Constantine, and Vader. Interesting thing is Constantine. I will speak a bit about that list later, but let's go a bit further. We can see that Imperial has a lot of options to play. I would say like this, it's been confirmed by all the results that Imperial lists recently, all the results that they are achieving, all the big tournaments of the recent years, so 2019, 2020, I believe. At the beginning there was LVO and then our Polish Masters. I don't think that there were more, let's say, big tournaments of Armada. Maybe some regionals, of course, but I'm speaking about the rank and the level of the competition. So I believe those two national championship tournaments were the greatest ones, and the Imperials are winning it regularly. Also, as I mentioned, also in 2019, Worlds, Europeans, also in Poland, Polish grants were taken by Imperials. So a lot of options, a lot of strong archetypes, and we can see that Imperials are just have just a big pool of the Admirals in which you can choose which one would you prefer. If we'll take a look at the recently released ships or the additions, the expansions, I won't be speaking about the Rebellion in the Rim, because I believe every fleet had something from this expansion, but I would say that there were Starhawks in the number of 5, 2 Onagers and 1 SSD. So Onager a bit surprising. I would say that I thought that more people will take Onager, but it seems that people are not that convinced about it. I can see, however, that Starhawk was represented, so if the people was strongly represented, if the people were taking the new things, the Starhawk was definitely the one. And the SSD, just an honorable mention, there was one. And after some time, I believe people realized that SSD is not like the perfect choice for a tournament, even if it's big and very resilient. It's just a big target for the ship, for all the ships, and once it goes down, it's it costs a lot. When it goes down, the game is most likely over. So looking at the other two columns, the one at the left, Archetypes, I just numbered it, counting down with the spot the players were taking. So the winner is 1, the runner-up 2nd, 3rd is number 3, etc., etc. So we can see the bottom of the table. So Agate, Piet, SSD, Multi-Dual ISD, Thrawn's Creed. So literally those admirals that were played but are not the strongest at the moment. The most interesting one is definitely the JJ Onager all ship was a great list, I remember, and the number 9, so Konstantin Onager Double Dictor. Very interesting. It's been on a stream, so you can check it. I believe round 2 or 3. Przemek from Warsaw was playing it. He didn't play so well the mentioned game, the one on stream, but he played. He's rather a good player, so he managed to achieve some victories with that list on the different occasions. This time he was a bit unlucky. He's 9th, so he didn't make it to the cut. And it's a bit sad, because it would have been much more interesting to see that. Speaking about the top 8, I will just go straight forward to the lists. I won't be just discussing them right now, just within a few minutes. On the right side, however, we can see like a small table with the activation count, squadron component, and a bid. We can see that there were no bid wars or anything like this. In fact, the 2 winning lists, so the champion list and the runner-up, had a very high bid, like 27 points, I believe. However, you can see that the other lists actually are just have maximally the medium bid. So people were rather taking the list for full 400. Then we can see squads. Also, the full component of squads was rather successful. Many of such squad lists in top 8. In the bottom of table, rather low squadron component, so up to 70 points, usually around 30. So Sienna Valen or Shara Taiko. I'm just giving an example, but you know, some, but not many, sometimes none. And the activation count, classic 2 ship on the first place, so 2 activations, but the other ones around 5 activations. Some of the lists with 6 activations, most likely LMSUs, and 4 activations is the activation count for the archetypes like Starhawk, where you have 2 flotilla Starhawk, possibly Advisor or something else, but rather around 5. Okay, so right now I will go to the main dish, which is just the top 8, so the day 2, how it looked like, what exactly happened. So as I was saying, there was 90 people. On the first day they played 4 rounds of Swiss, and then top 8 cut played 3 more rounds of Swiss on the next day, of course starting with 0 points. So the first player after the day 1 faced the 8th player, second played with 7th player, and then number 3 with 6 and 4 and 5. But the rest, of course, was just normally drawn, like in a regular Swiss. So so first of all, I can just do the honorable mention again. This time for a task force event, because I believe that not only very competitive players are watching us right now, people that also want to try something new with Armada. So for example, task force format, which is very fine not only for a campaign, is very interesting as well for the just when we're expecting the new releases. So the Clone Wars first wave will come out, and I believe the task force format will be a bit more popular, because those new factions will just have not many choices. So I believe that people will be organizing task force tournaments, and we had one as a side event on a day 2. So the players that didn't manage to make it to the cut, they just played in the side event, and the winning list was Classic Demolisher for 88 points with Branson, Orna's Experts, Assault Proton Torpedoes, Engine Tax, and Demolisher, of course. So the Gladiator 1 and Naked Simon. So 200 points with 3 objectives, I believe. Advanced Gunnery, I think Hyperspace Assault and Volatile Deposits, maybe something like this. But in general, interesting 2 ship list, but very, very strong, powerful, and managed to win, despite that there were fleets. Of course, in a task force format there is no limit for squadrons, so there was 1 fleet for sure with only a raider and Imperial squads, I believe rogues, and the rebel list with CR90B as a flagship and 161 points in squads. Not necessarily good choice, because the playmat is only 3. You're playing only 3 by 3, so like in X-Wing. So the Demolition and Simon is rather a better choice, because it will catch you and table you. Okay, so getting back to the main dish, as I said before, because that's important and that's why we're here today. So the top 8 lists. I will start with the players in order from the lowest seeded place to the champion. So of course after the whole tournament, not in order from the first day. However, I will be mentioning which places the player occupied after first day. So we got a player that came out as the 8th player, Matt Salwood. Matt is a player from Great Britain, from England I think, but he lives in Poland for a few years, and I think he started playing Armada this year, and seems to be a very good player, to be rising star of Armada in our country. It's very interesting. I just met him once at the tournament before, and he performed pretty well, just you know, behind the backs of really top level players. So he seems to be very good player as well, and he proved it joining the top 8 of the Polish Masters this year. He made it with the list that you can see on the screen, so very interesting one. The Starhawk Mark 1 with Agate, of course, Valex Blisex, Strategic Advisor, and Leading Shots. Very cheap iteration of Starhawk, really. The other ship, also a large ship, is an MC-75 Ordnance Cruiser with Ordnance Experts, ECMs, wide area barrage, and external racks. Also very cheap one. Look at this, 116 points, so very cheap. I seen maybe MC-80s, Liberties, like, you know, cheap like this, but well, it's, you know, a big ship, very, you know, tough to kill, but very cheap. So that's the effectiveness of this list. That the quantity, not the quantity, sorry, not the quality, but the quantity. And I think that was a good call. So those 2 big ships were supported by 2 GR75s, one pretty classic ones for the Starhawk, so one with Reaper Cruise, the other one with Leia and Comsnet. And he managed to fit in here 64 points, so a legendary medium squadron ball of YT 2400s, which are very efficient ships against squads, just, you know, mostly against squads, not that strong against ships, you know, 4 times a black die. It's some addition to what those ships will put on, what damage the ships will put on the other on the opponent's ships. This is some kind of an addition, but it's like, you know, statistically 3 hits, 3 single hits per round, which is not, you know, not amusing, but those are, you know, those YTs are mostly to protect, to slow down the opponent's squads. Yes, so I've seen Matt playing this list. I would say that this list is very unusual. I mean, players are very rarely playing something like this. So some cheap ships, as I said, rather quantity than quality of those ships. But this is very tough list, very brutal, but Matt is playing it very well. I mean, he was playing. I was happy to see his games mostly, and I would say that he's a very skilled player with that list. I've seen that he's playing it in a very interesting way. What I mean by that is that he's usually flanking with this MC-75. So this is very interesting strategy, and it works well for him. If he made it to the top 8, then such playstyle seems to be very efficient. So he's playing it with finest, so at its finest. So very nice list. His objectives, because I didn't mention before, is advanced gunnery, contested outpost, dune station. Very classic ones for the Starhawk, although I prefer personally volatile deposits instead of doomed station. But you know, this is a classic one, so I won't be judging that. Of course, that's a good choice. So we can move on to the next player. So the number 7, Grzegorz Ludwin. So Grzesiek is a local player, a very good player. He's also a young player. I believe the youngest at the tournament, most likely. So he's ain't even 20 yet. So very skillful young player, and as you can see, he chosen the classic Recon Aces on Pelta and Yavaris. So very similar list to the list that Piotr Świetlik, so Firefly, was playing at Europeans 2018, and he managed to win with this list. So Grzesiek is playing a similar list, it seems. There are some small differences which I can point out in a minute. So he has a classic Hammerhead lifeboat with Riken and Heimdall. Then there is a Pelta command ship with Adar Talon and Flight Commander, due to the Phoenix home title that allows you to have 2 officers, and expanded hangar bay. So it is how the Pelta looks like. There is a classic Nebulon B with Yavaris and Flight Commander, and 2 GR75s, so the one with a Bomber Command Center and the other one with Torin Comsnet. So yes, he's here for those flotillas are supporting with the rerolls, as he packed 133 points into squadrons, which is which makes this list based entirely on the squadrons. So if we take a look at this component, it's Dutch Vander, Wedge Antilles, Nim, Dagger Squadron, Ten Nump, Gold Squadron, Genors, and Green Squadron. So very strong component. The difference between this list and the Piotr winning list from 2018 from the Europeans, from European Championship, is that Piotr was playing with VCXs, which gives him a better control due to objectives, I think, and due to the range of the squadron activation. This is something that Grzesiek list lacks. So he do not have that, that control, as he do not have boosted comms. He only have flight commanders on his carriers. That makes them much more fragile to enemy ships, because they need to be a bit closer to the fight. However, if you take a look at the squads, he has so many firepower in the squadrons, because almost everything, despite Jan, is a bomber. There are 4 bombers with 2 dice, which is unusual with the Riken Aces. Usually they were like 3, just 3, usually like 10 dump, gold, and dagger or something. So very strong squad component. But as I said, there's the other thing that is missing, in my opinion. So something that will make those B-wings more flexible. They are only speed 2. There is no flight commander here, no all fighters follow me, despite the Pelta. So again, I don't want to be judging, but I believe this is something that opponents of Grzesiek could have been using against him. If we'll take a look at the objectives: precision strike, fighter, ambush, superior position, classic ones. So very interesting list. Glad to see the Riken Aces again in a good form. Good to see that Grzesiek was playing it very well. Just not risking with that Hammerhead, just putting it a bit outside as the usual lifeboat. He knows how this list works, and he pulled out the 7th place out of all Polish Elmers here at the tournament a week ago. So we're glad to see that list. Okay, let's see the next list. Now I need to break down the list from the place number 6. So here we go. Przemysław Paluszyński, so Przemo, well, this is the other guy that you guys may know if you're into the competitive Armada, as Przemo is the former European runner-up from 2018 as well, where he faced the mentioned Pelthalist in the final with his Radus bomb. He lost that final, but I'm not gonna be introducing that player anymore. You already know him very well. So a great player, but this time only 6th place, I would say. Only why I'm saying only, because I think that Shemo was aiming just for a bit more, and I need to admit that due to terrible bad luck, which I will mention a bit later, while I'll be speaking about the top 8 matches, he ain't managed to perform as he wanted to. I believe so. But nonetheless, it's still top 8. It's still top 6. So the list number 6. This is basically the same list that Alessio won the Vassal World Cup this year. So the Starhawk Mark 1 with Agate, of course, Bail Organa Strategic Advisor, interesting choices, Ruthless Strategies, Flag Bridge for the Entrapment Formation, Leading Shots, Link Turbo Laser Towers, Magnites, and Concord as the title. And this is the only big ship, in this list. He's just supported by 2 flotillas, with the classic ones, with the Leia and Kamsnet, the other one. Okay, he doesn't have the Reaper Cruise, but he has the Bomber Command Center due to the squadron ball he chosen. So Ahsoka Tano, Bright Hope, and Bomber Command Center. And the squadron component, which is Hera, Gold, Lando, Genors, 2 X-Wings, Skurg, and Y-Wing. So, interesting squad ball. It's not like a classical one. I mean, there is a mix of very different and differently working squads, because you get just generics. Like half of the list are generics, the other half are just are interesting aces like Hera, Lando, and Genors, also Gold Squad. So there is a lot of bombers here. There is Lando, which is for the obvious reasons here. Yes, and that's very interesting list because of the Ruthless. And because of that combo with Bale and Magnites and Concord, of course. I ain't seen Shemo's matches. I ain't watching them very carefully. As I said, I was just commentating on the stream mostly, but I seen some actions that he managed to perform with this list. Very interesting one, tough one, I believe. If we're speaking about the Starhawk archetype, this is possibly the strongest iteration, one of 2, I would say, because the other one is the Starhawk with Rogues. But I'm still not convinced about Starhawk that much. However, this list, Alessio winning the Vassal World Cup with this. He's a great player, but it's still there was still a lot of players there who were also very, very good, possibly even better than him, and he managed to win with that list. And Shemo, usually is also winning with this list. He took out. He managed to win the tournament in Krakow 2 months ago with that list. So very, very strong list, and if properly managed, then it's very powerful. However, as I said, looks like Shemo was aiming for a bit more. but still, you know, he was second after Swiss after they won on 34 points, losing only by MOV. So he performed really well with that list, but as I said, he was just a bit unlucky. It's a bit sad because I was very curious how good this list can be, how, you know, how much you can pull out of this list, and we still maybe do not know, but we'll be still considering this. So if we'll take a look at the classic objectives, advanced gunnery, contested outpost, and doomed station, we can see that Shemo can be second player and can be the first player. You know, both options are pretty good for him, and that combo with Bale is also very interesting. Well, very interesting. The best of Starhogs, and you know, this was the choice that Shemo made. I mean, you know, with a consciousness, he just wanted to take the Starhawk to that the tournament, and you know, pull out as much as he can out of this build. So very interesting. Okay, let's go a bit further to the other list, to the list from the spot number 5, so just outside top 4. Bartłomiej Kostuch, so Bartek Kostuch from Krakow, also a local player. He's mostly a rebel player, but you know, he's good at both factions. Very good player, one of the best in Poland, definitely. And he turned out to be the top 1 rebel admiral this year, as the 5th place at nationals is the, you know, highest placed rebel admiral in the stakes. So disappointing for rebels, but it shows you know, the state of the game. I believe the current state, as Empire has much more options, as I was saying before while discussing the statistics. It's just, you know, the difference is really big, because you know, the rebels do not have that much options. Starhawk, okay, we do not know what Starhawk is capable of. I mean, okay, it took out the Vassal World Cup, but there were not many chances to prove the worth of the Starhawk. So what do the rebels have? Riken. And I believe the best archetype of the rebel alliance right now, so the Riken Rogues MSU. This one is not a classic one. I mean, the Bartek is my sparring partner. We're just playing, you know, we're training before the tournaments, the big tournaments, etc. We're just, you know, testing some, you know, a lot of variants of the archetypes. He's, you know, I'm playing with him mostly. He's a very good player, and we've been testing many versions of this list, so of the Rogues Recon MSU list, and he decided to take the one with Yavaris. I prefer the one with the Corvettes, with based on TRC 90s. He decided that he will choose the one with the Yavaris. I was also playing that, but it's just a different one. So he has chosen the Yavaris here, also pretty regular one. He has the first and foremost the lifeboat with the Riken, without any additions, so only 66 points. Then the other ship is the Nebulon B, classical Yavaris with flight commander and auxiliary shields team. You do not have slow bombers here, so you do not need those FCTs. So he has chosen to, you know, to use that auxiliary shields team. Everyone whoever played Yavaris knows what is the biggest pain in the ass, and is definitely the side arc. So pretty reasonable choice. He has two TRC-90s, one with Janus Light, and he has only one flotilla with Torin and Kamsnet, which is also the pretty reasonable choice. Torin is very important in that list. And the squad component, mostly we've been testing and playing with the squad component containing Dutch, Wedge, Hera, Ketsu, Lando, and Dash. But I can see that just before the tournament, Bartek swapped Dash Rendar with Rogue Squadron and the Gold Squadron. So very interesting choice, but very reasonable, I would say, as well, because it's two another squads more than Dash that could which can actually matter when he's for example facing non-squadron lists, because of the Gold Squadron with Hera combination. Yeah, you do not need to have like Dutch or Wedge that are depending on a good roll on a black die. You just have the bomber with two blue dice, and you can also use the other squads. So very interesting components, still very strong list, as I said, because if you're looking from the outside, it might look like another list based on Yavaris, etc. But no, I can tell you that Yavaris is just a recent addition. I mean, usually in those lists we are playing Corvettes or something like this. There were the iterations with the admonition, but here the Nebulon B is like the Yavaris Nebulon B is has been chosen by Bartek, and is very sufficient, especially when he faces the squad heavy lists. So if we'll take a look at the objectives: most wanted, fighter ambush, and infested fields. Fighter ambush is interesting choice because usually it's asteroid tactics, but Bartek decided that he wants to score points rather than have those asteroid tactics combo with Lando, or just to be more just a bit better defended, like when he's facing the other list with rogues, but it's not that popular. So he has chosen the fighter ambush and infested fields. As he said, he doesn't like the superior positions. So that's his choice. Pretty reasonable, of course. So a very good list, and glad to see Bartek again in a top 8. He's one of the best players here, and as we can see, he's a top 1 rebel right now. So not surprising. Next time I believe he will be even higher placed. Okay, let's go further to the list from the 4th place. So we got a top 4 list. Mariusz Truba, so the player from Warsaw. Mariusz is a very interesting player, because he's one of the players when it comes to a big tournament. He's achieving a really good results, because last year he was in a top 8. I'm not quite sure if he was 7th or 8th. Sorry, I don't remember, but it seems that he make even a better result this year, and he's usually playing similar archetypes. So he's very usually using Mati, the Admiral Mati, with 2 Imperials. I remember last year he played, I believe, 2 Imperials with Guzanti. Sorry, not with Guzantis, with a Gladiator, with a Demolisher, like here. However, there was no Guzanti this time it seems that he spared some points from upgrades on those both ISDs to add the activation and to have the activation control, because 5 activation lists is just a pretty classic one, but with that raw firepower. That's something interesting. So yes, so we have a flagship, so a Simon, just with Muddy, with Krennic and Spinal Armament. So he's focusing on those red dice, and he also have the other Imperial Star Destroyer, this time Imperial 2, with Strategic Advisor, Vader weapons team, and leading shots and XA7. So he's not caring that much about the defense, as you can see. I do not have any upgrades on the ISD2, and of course on Simon as well, as there is no defensive retrofit there. But it's similar to the MAT list, the one with Starhawk and MC75, because it's also those are very cheap Imperials with a raw firepower. But this time he do not have any squad component. He is just supported by Gladiator 1 with the Demolisher title. Also very, very classic one with APTs, engine techs, ordnance experts, but without any officer, any Bronson or anything like this. And also the Gazanti Comsnet. So again, very brutal, very, the list created for a really hard contact. And he played it very well. He made it to the top 8. Then he, from the 7th place, he qualified from the 7th place, I believe. And now, as you can see, he managed to be in the top 4. So interesting. Also, the objectives: Advanced Gunnery, Contested Outpost, and Doomed Station. So similar ones to Starhawk ones. They are working pretty well with this list. 2 big ships, so Contested Outpost, Doomed Station. Obvious choices, also Advanced Gunnery. You will not be risking the double shots from any of those ISDs. And Gladiator incoming. So yes, moving on to the list number 3, because we're starting with the most interesting lists here, maybe even the most interesting. So we have Sebastian Rauscher, so the player from Germany, very good player. He took out the regionals this year, I believe. Yes, definitely this year. At the beginning of the year, he won I believe the Neumünster Prime, if I'm not mistaken, one of the German primes. He's a guest. He came from Düsseldorf, so he proved that if someone wants to play in the tournament, then despite those hard times that we have right now, is just able to travel. Germans had let's say a pretty good, pretty decent situation, because also in Germany the COVID situation is not that bad, the flights are allowed, so it was just like a vacation for him, and he decided to came to Poland and participate in our nationals in the Polish Masters. And I'm glad because of that. Good to see him around. And as we can see, he was playing very interesting lists. So he is, he's basically usually theory crafting with Tok'ra a lot, and we can see the strong influence here, because Tok'ra was testing the morale lists at the beginning of the year, and Sebastian is speaking a lot with him, and we can see definitely that he likes the similar archetypes, because he's playing usually Imperials. In here he chosen Sloane with Moralo, so also the interesting one. Raider 1 with Sloane, Hondo and Corvus, So a classic, classic lifeboat in Imperial lists nowadays. Curve is giving that one more deployment. Just you're deploying squads from it, and then he's just moving, being redeployed somewhere else. Also, we have the Quasar, of course, the classic one again, with the skilled first officer, flight controllers, boosted comms and squall. So also the obvious combo, the long range of activation, additional dice for all those squads, and squall just to to trigger that morale ability, moving with lambdas. So the very interesting combo that potentially can generate like alpha strike of 9 squads, because first, for the people, of course, that are into the competitive Armada, I believe everyone knows how the morale works. However, for the others, the Quasar is revealing the dial. Squall is just moving 2 lambdas. They are moving tokens. Morale is attacking just 2 times, and then the Quasar is activating. Has a 4 or 5, rather 5 with token. 5 activations of the squadrons, so you just have an additional 5 attacks, so 2 plus 5, 7 attacks, and of course 2 of them are lambdas, which are moving again, and the morale is triggered two more times, so just 9 times. We can see that the other component is of this list is Archetypes with Nida, Engine Text, and Centicore. So the ships are basically the same, very similar to the ones that Tokra had in his Worlds winning list from 2019, because they are just able to avoid the fight and let the squadrons do their thing. And of course, these Archetypes can be potentially on speed 3 with engine text. Is very hard to very hard to catch. 2 Gazantis with 2 comms nets. I'm wondering if you need 2 comms nets. If you have also Hondo, that might be a bit overkill, but I won't be judging that again. It seems it works perfectly for him. So possibly that's a good decision. And his squad component, so Marek Jendon, classic, Reimer, of course, Moralo, 2 Lambdas, Saber Squadron, and Vale and Rudor. So 134 points, full squads, very strong component again. You do not have a Mauler here. That's the biggest difference in comparison to the classic Sloan lists. Also the Hull Runner, but of course it's not the idea of this list. The most important thing is that morale with those lambdas, and of course objectives, targeting beacons, fire lanes, sensor net. I believe the original version was the surprise attack, the one that Tokra proposed before Worlds this year. That ain't happened, of course. But he was saying about surprise attack being just giving more chance to play those other 2 objectives. But surprise attack is just the objective that is not triggering some lists at all. For example, the MSUs are just not triggered by this surprise attack at all. So just targeting beacons is just a safe call. Of course, you will be just playing targeting beacons all the time. I mean, of course, if you're second player, but because the opponent will never choose fire lanes and sensor net. But it's okay. You can shoot with your Archetypes, but it's also not the purpose. It's just strictly for Moralo, and I appreciate that version. I believe the targeting beacons is just a better choice. Yes, so 4 points bid. He will most likely outbid the lists for 400 or 399. I mean, for sure he will outbid them, but those lists that are aiming for such composition, so no bid lists. And the other ones, of course, will have to decide. The other ones usually want to be first, so this is a different, this is a difficult choice. But of course, if you do not have the objectives with tokens, you can just take a second player to make sure that Moralo will not be triggered. But it still works pretty good because you're still burning tokens, you still can kill the ships. I'm not very convinced about Moralo. It's a very strong list, very fun to play. I played it like once or 2 times maybe, but it's very fun to play. But with time I believe it will be either nerfed or it will be just countered. So it's not a perfect list. It's a very strong list, but not the worst thing that you can see on the table. I mean, in some circumstances it is, but this is not happening all the time. It's rather rarely happening. So he managed to take to do the top 3 with this list. Very interesting, very good player, and I'm glad that we were able to watch it on the streams and to see how it works. And I like this variety of the lists because I will speak about that a bit later when I will also break down the list number 2 and 1. So yes, so here we go. Let's go to the list number 2. Okay, so Jakub Harmo. So Jakub was he's called Kubek. He was a defending champion. He was the 2019 champion, national champion of Poland. Very good player, one of the greatest here. So it's totally not surprising that he managed to be top 2 again. And also very good list. This is his flag list, I would say, because Kuba is just taking this list to. He's so good at this list. This is his favorite, and his optimal composition, his optimal build for the major tournaments. So it's very similar to the one that he chosen the year before when he was winning. The difference is that he now do not have Chimera and all those entrapment formation and the other cards, the fleet commands. So he made some changes here. He just needed to take some decisions. We can see classic gladiator, classic rider. So anti-squadron flag rider with Aiden, Ordnance Experts, Flechette Torpedoes, Instigator, classic one. Also Demolisher for 88 points, classic one. Bronson, Ordnance Experts, ET, APT, and Demolisher. Classic Gazanti, Hondo Comsnet, classic Gazanti, Slicer Tools, and classic Imperial as well. Gergerod, Strategic Advisor, so he can first last most of the lists. Vader to take out whatever he wants to, usually ECMs. Early warning system just to be protected against squads. Leading shots and XA7 turbo lasers, also a classic one. So this is the best iteration. I mean, this is Imperial list at its best. You cannot have more. I mean, of course, depending on meta, on local meta, most likely you will have some small choices between some upgrades, but here you have everything. I mean, this is, before he was playing with the boarding troopers and Avenger, but nowadays it seems that Vader is just better for him because it gives you more flexibility what you can take out I mean, what upgrade you can take out of the other ship, and also if you're taking ECMs with leading shots on the medium range, you'll just roll that one accuracy. So I would say very good call, very strong list, and not surprising that he again was able to achieve a great score, the great result. And despite he did not, defend the title, it's not that easy here. I mean, there are so many good players at the similar level here that it's, the being second or third, it's just, it's still a great achievement. And yes, and Kuba made it once again. As I said, he's playing with this list for a long time, and he was practicing with this list. He's a master of this fleet, I can assure you. So let's take a look at his objectives that he's not usually playing because of the great bid, and he wants to be first usually. So advanced gunnery, asteroid tactics, and volatile deposits, very good choices. As I said, he's rarely being second, so those are good choices. If he needs to, he has the flexibility to choose. Okay, let's focus on the list number 1. So the winning list, who is the player? Will you guess? Would you guess? It's Świetlik, Piotr Świetlicki, Firefly. You know that guy. He won some tournaments before. Okay, so I won't be introducing that guy. You already know him. So he's the former European champion. He's the current European runner-up. He's also a former Polish champion, and now he became, for the second time, he became the Polish champion, national champion. So nobody did it before. I mean, nobody defended the Polish championship, and okay, he also did not defend, but he win it for the second time. So he's the first player to do that. Okay, also Imperial 364, so 1 point less than Kuba. They met in the first round of the day 1, so that was the really great game. Piotr managed to win 7-4 as far as I can remember, despite that he had that one bit less, and Kuba was choosing. Okay, so what do we have here? Classic dual ship. I mean, classic. If you're guys watching us from America, I believe for you the classic dual ship is based on the throne. I mean, this is tough choice. I believe both versions are very good, but I believe Sloan is just better in general. So I mean, hard for me to tell, but dual ship with Sloan that is burning out your tokens. Okay, you do not have 2 commands, but you have much more firepower, I would say. But anyway, and you get also just more bid, so it's also good for that list, very important for that list. But anyway, that's just a classic Sloan dual ship. So Imperial 2, Sloan, Price. Okay, just give me a moment. I might be mistaken here. Not that classic, because we have local fire control. That's interesting choice. So there is also ECMs, leading shots, and Avenger, but though I will focus on the local fire control. We've been discussing that with Piotr just literally a week before those nationals, when I traveled to him just to play some Armada for him in order to train before the tournament. He told me that he was considering that local fire control as the upgrade, because he don't really need the flight controllers here, neither the gunnery team. So this is interesting choice, but a good one, because those are two blue dice and one red die from a salvo, which can be decisive sometimes. I believe also if you'll burn out the tokens with that Sloan, that might be maybe not a game changer, but might be sometimes very, very important. So seems to be a good call then. Usually you're just swapping that contain, because why would you need it if you will not get any hull damage? Okay, so then we have a Quasar. Of course, the Quasar Fire 1 Hondo over the skilled first officer. Good call, because you have no token distribution at all in this list, so this is a good call. Flight controllers, obvious choice. Boosted comms, obvious one, and skull as well. And the squadron component, not that popular. I mean, not the most usual one. So Jennings, Mark Steel, Hullrunner, Mauler Metal, Scenery, Veil and Rudor, and then Whisper and Jump Master. That's interesting. To be honest, I've never seen Whisper on a table. Believe me, I'm playing a lot. I never seen Whisper on a table. Therefore, I'm glad that someone took it and made some good use of it. As I know Piotr, he was we've been speaking many times about it. He's not that convinced with Dengar. I mean, he's saying that you do not need that Dengar. You do not need Dengar that much. So he prefers the generic over him, and then you have 20 points. So okay, he do not have the Saber Squadron, which it's very good one. I like it. I would definitely contain it, but it seems that he made a good choice choosing Whisper, because it's very hard to kill due to the ability. He's just able to run away, heal on station. For example, if he's nearby, if he's playing such objective that allows him to go this way. Very interesting combo, really. I'm glad that someone used Whisper and he became a champion. So that was definitely a good choice. Just to be formal, the assault, defense, and navigation objectives are advanced gunnery, fighter, ambush, superior positions. So very classic ones. I mean, the best ones that you can have in such list. So yes, very, very strong list. Steel seems to be, the dual ship seems to be very, very strong. The cases, interesting cases that Piotr, I'm wondering how would he perform against Starhawk, and I believe he ain't played a single game against Starhawk on this tournament. I think, I'm not quite sure, but I think definitely not in the top 8. I will advance to that in a minute. However, well, as I was saying, this seems to be still a good list. As you know, the Avaris still in play, dual ships still in play, so it seems the meta did not change that much yet. Of course, it's hard for us to tell after, like, let's say, one championship tournament in 2020, because of course there are no other tournaments in which we can check it, despite maybe that Vassal World Cup, but it's also a different thing. So very interesting to see this. Speaking generally about top 8 lists, it's those lists are very different. I mean, we have 4 rebels, 4 Imperials. Surprising thing is that rebels were placed on on the bottom of the top 8 ladder, and top 4 was all Imperial. I mean, maybe it's not surprising because, as I said, right now Imperials have much more possibilities. There is a lot of archetypes that can be used properly, and can be used good, and that can pull out some victories in a great tournaments. But it's still, it's still surprising that there were no single rebel list that managed to be at least so close, of the victory. So yeah, but it's still 4 different lists of rebels, 4 different lists of Imperials. Because if you will take a look at those Imperials, 2 heavy squadron lists and 2 completely non-squadron lists. One with the brutal firepower, of course, if we're speaking about the squadless lists. The other one with many tricks, very finest with JJ, so very interesting list. Then the other, okay, we got 2 Sloans, but completely different. One based on MSU and Moralo, the other one, the brutal one with the dual ship and the classic Aces component. Then we have Rebels, we have still classic Recon Aces, and then we have some kind of totally new generation of Recon Aces. Just, I would say not Recon Aces, but MSU Aces, Recon MSU Aces, something like this. And 2 completely different Starhawk, one with just the single squads and the other big ship, and one with just full Starhawk with full squads. So totally different archetypes. I'm glad to see that. As I said, during the whole tournament, the choices of people, there was a lot of variety on the tournament. Despite, as I said, Rebels have only 2 different commanders, 5 Agates and 3 Rykans. It's still the different thing when those lists are very differently constructed. So there was a lot of variety. What can you say for the 20 people tournament? Very interesting. What I was about to say is that I was considering on the second day, after there were not many people signed for the tournament, I was considering making a top 4. I mean, I announced the top 8, but as the TO, of course, due to such circumstances, I was just able to swap it to the top 4, to change it to the top 4, which would be better for that competition in the top cut. However, just looking at at the fact that that was not an official tournament and there were many new players, we decided that it would be good just to keep it that way, so someone can just reach the top 8, and it would be a great achievement for him. We'll play on the next day. There was no like the great reward, like invite for worlds or anything like this, so we decided to keep it that way, and we stayed with the top 8 idea for the day 2. However, as I said, I was considering the top 4, and after the first day, the winner of the Swiss was Piotr with that dual ship Sloan. Second place was Shemo Starhawk, so also very interesting one. Third place was the Bartek Kostus MSU with those rogue aces. And fourth one, the number 4, top 4, was the Sebastian Rauscher's Moralo list. So that would be very interesting to see the top 4 cut between those players. That's what I was planning to do. So I mean, before the tournament, of course, before I knew who will be in the top 4, but in the end, we decided to make the top 8. Was a good one. However, I will be saying a bit right now about that. That was some, there were not many emotions at some stage of the tournament due to results and how the pairings were and what happened in pairings, etc. So right now I will say I'm about to show you the how the top 8 cut was being processed, as this is pretty important and interesting, I think. So in the round one pairings for the top 8, we had table number 1 Sebastian Rauscher against Jakub Harmo, table number 2 Piotr Świetlicki against Grzegorz Ludwin, Mariusz Truba against Przemysław Paluszyński on table 3, and table 4 Matt Salwood, Bartłomiej Kostuch. As you can see the results here. I will just show you some picks and how those I will just say a bit about how those matches were going. So the round 1, the lowest table, it was just randomized, because, as I said, the first player from the day 1 was playing against the 8th one, then number 2 against number 7, number 3 against 6, etc. So the tables were randomized. So here we can see the picture. I just got one picture from each matchup from the top 8, just to shortly speak about it. Bartek's MSU against Matt's Starhawk MC75 list. Result, Bartek won 8-3, I believe. We could see it on the previous slide. But as you can see, the classic setup with the lifeboat in the left on the left hand side, with the corvettes flanking on the right side, and the carrier Nebulon B in the center with the squads. Seems that they were playing infested fields. So Bartek seemed to be the second player, and he was just going through. I believe he did not manage to kill Starhawk later on. I believe he just killed everything else. So for sure he lost the Avaris. I mean, looking at the Avaris setup, I believe he did. But that those 4 whiteys were not very crucial for Matt, were not a problem for Bartek's squads, and they were just most likely killed, I believe. So as you can see on that picture. Okay, so now I can say that the other table was the table number 3, and we had Shemo against Mariusz. Here we can see the Shemo on the left. This game was on a stream, so you can watch it. And as you see, those ISDs were occupying the station at Mariusz contested outpost, and Shemo just was slowly moving towards those ISDs with those squads trying to kill it. What happened during that game? Shemo was very unlucky during it, because first of all, Simon survived at 1 HP due to some bad rolls. If he would go down, he wouldn't be shooting in the round 3, I believe. So Starhawk was starting the round. Simon was dropped to the one hole, and then he was able just to put some damage on Starhawk. Then again, the same situation with Demolisher. At some point, Przem was shooting at Demolisher, attacking with the squads, and he managed to survive at one hole. He tried to bump it, he ain't done it. Another bad luck for him, but the most crucial thing was just pulling out the crit. I believe projector misaligned. I believe this is the crit that you're losing, your hull zone with most remaining shields are losing them all, and Starhawk pulled it and lost all 6 all 6 shields from the front. Yes, and Mariusz managed to kill that Starhawk for the price of 1 ISD and the Demolisher, but his ISD survived. That one more round would have been crucial. That made it very bad for Shemo. Shemo was a favorite. Looking at the skill of the players, Shemo was a real favorite of this match, but this is the game. That's why this game is also beautiful. And we can see that raw firepower of the Mariusz lists was just able to kill the Starhawk, and it was very decisive. I will speak a bit about it later. So that was the number 3 table. Okay, and now we have the table number 2. So on the right hand side, dual ship Sloan led by Świetlik against Grzegorz Ludwin, so the local player I mentioned from the position number 7, with the classic Reich and aces, Pelta aces. There was not much history in this matchup, I believe. Of course, that the Reich and lifeboat on the top left corner survived, but Świetlik managed just to wipe down alpha striking those squads, I believe, wipe down those Rican aces, and then kill the Yavaris Pelta and possibly flotillas. So interesting game, but much more experienced player, which was Świetlik. That was very important in such matchup. That allowed him to win with the very high amount of points, I believe, like 9-2. And the first table of the round first was the rematch for the last round of the day 1, which you can see on our stream, on our channel, the round 4. So Jakub Kubek Harmo was playing with Sebastian Rauscher, so our guest from Germany, with Moralo list on the right side, and Kubek's list, Gergerat's LMSU. It seems that Kuba changed the tactic completely. On the first day, they were classically playing targeting beacons of Sebastian. However, here it seems that Kuba has chosen to be second, to try to be a second player, and you can see that asteroid tactics were chosen for this from the Kubek's poll. Interesting, but it seemed not to be a good decision, because I mean, maybe the decision was right, but Kuba was saying that he made some mistakes, and he lost even more, because 7-4 in comparison to the previous day. But also very interesting matchup, very good players, top players. So good to see matches like this on a championship level. And that's how the round first was going. The round 2, we can see much more. The Grzesiek was playing Shemo, Paluszyński at the lowest table, as they received the big loss, like 9-2, 9-2 in the first round. Then table 3, Kuba Harmo against Salwood's Starhawk MC75. And the most important tables, this was very decisive. Świetlik was just facing the Mariusz Truba, so the winner against Shemo from the first round of that Swiss. He was facing it with that dual ship Sloan, and as squadless list like Mariusz had not much chance against it. Also, Piotr is much more experienced player, just much better player. And that was a great chance for Piotr. He was already on 9 points, and now he just scored 10-1, which was the fast lane for the victory in the whole tournament. Table two could have been could have changed it a bit. However, well, the Sebastian won against Bartek, which you can see also on our stream. He won in a very tough matchup. I believe the Bartek was in a good position, but possibly during the game some choices made that Sebastian was able to pull out the victory of it, and you know, after those after that round it was very hard for the one of those players to just win the whole competition. So round 2 set up everything, maybe even round 1. There was not many emotions in round 3, but I will speak about it in a while. Just give me a moment to show you some pictures from the round 2. The lowest table, so Grzesiek against Shemo, they played on the day 1 and Shemo won 9-2. But interesting thing is that the youngster just, you know, was most likely considering his tactic, just rethinking his tactic after the first day, and he managed to you know, to get some revenge as he won 9-2 against Shemo. Very interesting, because he tabled the Starhawk and I believe he scored some points on mission, on fighter ambush, I believe. So so good job, really good job. Okay, so we get a table 3 here. So the Quebec Jakub Karma, defending champion, against Salwood's interesting Starhawk list. So the all ship against squad that Starhawk. I believe Kuba lost that ISD on the left side, but managed to table him just to kill the Starhawk and both the Starhawk and MC75. So also interesting matchup. Hard for me to tell. I believe Kuba was just the first player. Seems they were playing contested outpost. So yes, so he definitely won that battle in that way. Next we can see the mentioned game from the stream. So Bartek against Seb, that was the crucial game for the result of the tournament. I mean, of course, not only that game, but there was still a chance that someone will be able just to compete with Piotr. But those guys just, you know, needed to score high. But in such matchup is very tough. Sebastian won 7-4. I believe Bartek just left that one Corvette, as we can see on the picture, just a bit behind. This is the Janus Light collecting the infested fields token. He should have, I believe, go with the Hammerhead for this token and just engage with that Corvette at once with the Nebulon and the other Corvette to put some real damage on squadrons, on Sebastian's ships. Just squadrons engaged too early, I believe. However, well, it was a good game, good game to see, and I can recommend it for you to see it on a stream. So we get the last table, the first table from the round 2, which was Mariusz with those ISDs and Demo on the right side against Świetlik on the left side. We can see the Quasar as a lifeboat here, basically, but Świetlik managed to table him, but it was very you know, as I was speaking about the Shemo just taking the projector miss line in the first round. Here the crit was also very crucial because the Simon pulled out the crit that he cannot attack at long range, and Świetlik Piotr just managed to escape with the ISD on the long range of the Simon with just, I believe, no shields and 2 hull or 1 hull, something like this. So just shooting him would kill the ISD and put just changed the result from 10-1 to 8-3, which, you know, did not matter that much. I mean, it could have, but in the end it was not that big difference, but again a crit set the game. Also in the first round, when Sebastian was playing against Kuba, when Kuba was attacking with the Raider, Kuba received the crit on the Raider that he loses one die against the squadron with a flag attack. So he was not able to pull out his real good combo with the flechettes and deactivate all those Sebastian squads. So that was very important, and as we were speaking with the guys after the tournament, that top 8 was under the name of the bad crits. So this is what generally happened. But referring to that match, as I said, just Świetlik just tabled those ISDs. Mariusz only scored the contested outpost station. Okay, so let's move forward to the round number 3. We can see the ladder here, sorry, not the ladder, but the pairings here. And starting with the match number 4, we can see the picture here. Shemo was fighting for improving of his result after 2 heavy losses in the first 2 rounds, and he managed to win against Matt in a big difference of points, I think. So his Starhawk on the right, despite it looks like he has not that many chances against those 2 big ships, with that squad support was just able to kill those both ships, I believe, and that's how it happened. Also interesting matchup. There was a lot of Starhawk against Starhawks matches, but this one in the top 8 against Starhawk against the other Starhawk that made it to the top 8. So both of them, an interesting one. Next, table number 3. So the Mariusz that lost heavily to Świetlik managed to face the reconnaissance on Pelta, and then you can see on the picture, it's very interesting. Look at the position of the Demolisher at the top of the screen, which Mariusz just sent the demo with the special mission to kill the Riken, and you can just imagine he tabled Grzegorz because he killed Pelta, he killed the Avaris with those ISDs because before he lost them. I believe he lost only one of them, and the demo on separate commando mission killed that lifeboat, which actually became, it seemed to not be a lifeboat anymore. So he pulled out a big win that put him on a 4th place as the outcome. Well, there was the table 2. However, this is the only table I do not have the picture from. On the table 2, you can see it on a stream. It's a quick game. Bartek was facing Kubek, and Kuba decided just to go for the flagship and was running away and killing the flagship in the corner. They knew that they are playing for the 2nd place in the tournament. None of them had the chance, even with the 10-1 victory. They ain't had a chance to win the tournament. So Kuba just took the safe bet, and he managed to kill the Riken lifeboat. Okay, so I do not have that picture, but you can see it on the stream, but I have the table 1 here, and that was it. The difference between players was 5 points. Świetlik was leading with 19 to 14 points. So Sebastian really did not in this matchup. Too many squads on the table. He needed to win 9-2 just to become a champion. That was just not possible with this matchup because of the points difference. After the heavy squadron battle, maybe like 4 squads would remain. This is not enough to kill the enough points to score enough points to pull out the 9-2 victory, even despite fighter ambush. As I said, if Sebastian would have beaten Bartek in round 2, like with a bigger difference, like 10-1, if Świetlik would not pull that crit on the, I mean, if opponent of Świetlik would have not pulled that crit on Simon, maybe, but you know, this is, you know, why to consider that there was not much emotions in that final round. That's sad, of course, but you know, if one player is playing that consistently and that good, it's very hard. That was a good day for Piotr, and he won well deserved. His victory was well deserved due to the way he was playing. So very interesting, very fine. I believe the only person that was able to stop Świetlik in this, of course hypothetically, in the top 8 was the Bartek Kostuch. If he would have win with the Sebastian, his Reich and Rogue aces had a really good chance to compete with the 2-ship, because this is the really good counter to 2-ship build. Maybe not exactly in this iteration, maybe not exactly that version, but still very, very good one. So he could have possibly been winning such matchup, but it did not happen. He lost in that round number 2. Nonetheless, very interesting tournament, and we can see ladder here. The great advantage, 25 points in the top 8 of such tournament with such great players. Really, that's something big. Look at the MOV, very, very hard, very tough matchups just behind him, and he scored many points. So he was the only player to make 3-0 as well. So very fair result. Okay, so as I said, that's how this tournament looked like, especially in the day 2. That's basically it. Just if we can just say something about meta, it was just very heavily based on squadrons, very interesting choices in the particular lists or even particular matchups. However, it did not change that much. Still 2-ship very strong, still Recon aces somewhere in top, still Empire has more choices, is just a bit better than the Rebels are. Still, it's still the same faces in the top 8. Cut. If you will take a look at the statistics, those players are very regularly winning big tournaments or just achieving good results here. So definitely very classical tournament. As I said, it's sad that not many people attended, but in the end the level of the competition was so high that nobody felt it. I think I believe the players are satisfied with that weekend and how it was going on. So thank you guys for watching. I think I will be just finishing up right now. Everything has been spoken, I think. Now we're just waiting for the Clone Wars and for the new additions, new rules, mostly new rules, because this will have the biggest impact on Armada, especially on the competitive scene. So I'm really glad that something's happening, that people are playing, and well, hopefully we will see each other, in a better world, on some kind of a good big tournament, like Worlds or Europeans, hopefully in 2021. I believe, everything will be okay, and we'll manage to play a great tournament, to have a great fun on such event, which I believe we're all missing about a bit. However, that's how it is. Okay, guys. So thank you so much for watching or listening us. I would like to encourage you to subscribe our channel, to like our Instagram profile or the Facebook profile. We're trying to be active. We're trying to provide some Armada stuff. I will try to post more of it. Maybe some meta consideration. We're basically speaking, we're just focusing on the competitive way of Armada. So hopefully we will be able to provide some more materials. Just well, hope you enjoyed it, and see you soon, guys. Thank you for watching once again. Ciao.